morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela in the video Vixen Bella with another edition of Notes on the News, where I read to you headlines from my news feed and share with you my thoughts, if any, about those headlines. My thoughts may be based on me being an expert on the subject or just me having read the headline or something in between. But it's not the news, it's just my notes on the news. So let us proceed. Detroit Community Group is combating the racial divide and the loss of net neutrality by building a local internet infrastructure. I'm always a fan of building something and creating something. I was kind of confused because they said the loss of net neutrality. I thought that was still a conversation going on. So that was kind of interesting. I'm like, is it already lost? It seemed like we done lost so much, you just figure if they going after it, they gonna win and we gonna lose it. Is that? Because the last time they went after net neutrality, they didn't win, but I guess they just keep coming and coming and coming till they wear you down. Argentina, missing submarine, still no sign of ARA San Juan, but they did detect that there had been an explosion. There were 44 people on board, and it seems like it's been about a week since it's been missing. Egypt attack, more than 230 killed in Sinai Mosque. And that was overnight. Well, it's Friday. It happened Friday there. It's Friday here now. So 230 people in a mosque were killed. Gunned down, bombs. It sounds like it was some combination of things going on. So rest in peace. So sorry for the losses of the families and communities of the people who made their transitions, and just much peace to the souls of the people who made their transition. Ferguson leaders wonder if police monitor is worth the cost. Police reportedly used metal rods to force asylum seekers out of a former Australian detention center. And they said the people just voluntarily went, but the reports is that the cops were beating them and carrying on to make them leave. These were the people who they closed the detention center down, and the people were like, they were afraid to leave. It was about 400 men, and so they were like digging holes in the ground trying to find water and saving food. And you know, they said that the people in the community were really hostile and aggressive and were going to kill them. Some people felt that way, so they didn't want to leave. Siberian pupils go to school as temperatures hit negative 50 degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit. Negative 50 degrees, that means it is cold. It's cold. But I think they don't close the schools until it gets to negative 56 in Siberia. They like, come on, school's open. Indian Padmavati, body found near fort linked to film protest. There's a film about a I can't remember what the film is about. This is my second time reading about it too. And I guess because I'm outside of the culture, whatever the issue is, I'm kind of like, what is the issue? Even though I've read it, I can't retain it. North Korea digs DMZ trench after recent defection. I thought they were digging the trench to make it harder for somebody to try to drive or run through, you know, so they have a barrier. You know, like if you're trying to escape, you can't just drive over. You're going through this hole and stuff, so that slows you down. Or if you're running, you got to run down and run back up. But what I read was that because they went over the line between South Korea and North Korea, and that breaks what North Korea is supposed to stay on North Korea's side, South Korea is supposed to stay on South Korea's side. And in the brouhaha of the person trying to escape, some of the North Korean military went on the South Korean side before somebody told them, hey, you on the other side. Then they went back. So they saying the trench is going to help them to know this our side, that's your side. So, you know, okay. Putin's party using physical violence to cling to power after losing an election in Moscow. And I think I read in this article, I had no idea that this is the last term that Putin can be elected to. So what's going to happen when he can't be elected anymore? Is he just going to stop down peacefully, or is what's going to happen? But anyway, they already, it sounds like, started using violence, are continuing, you know, what they do. I'm not really clear. Police investigate Beijing kindergarten over molestation claims. Children leaving with needle marks. So they're drugging the children. I thought, or that's the theory or whatever. I thought that maybe they were like torturing them, like poking them with needles, but they're poking them with needles to drug them. So then what are they doing to the children when they're drugged, allegedly? White supremacy in the Democratic Party's dark past. Flashback photo, African American Bricklayers Union, 1899. 1899, wow. Indiana Joan, a 95-year-old accused of looting Middle East tombs. South Africa's Supreme Court more than doubles Oscar Pistorius's murder sentence. I don't know who Oscar Pistorius is. Oh, I think I read that article. Now I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I think he killed it. Oh, I think I heard about this. He had killed his girlfriend through the bathroom door. It was some weird story. Remember? He's like some kind of athlete or something. So I think they gave him like 5 years and now he has 10 years, but he already served 5. I think he got 15, but he has 5 served. So, but anyway, Singapore's driverless buses to serve 3 towns by 2022. Egypt mosque attack, at least 155 killed in Sinai. So the next story I had, it was up to 200. Did I say 230 earlier? So again, sad. 8 North Korean fishermen, they have in quotes, wash ashore in Japan. They say it's not a common way for people to defect, but people have done that before. So, let me turn this mirror so I can see what's going on. I don't want nobody just walking up on me. Untrained Eyes explores how computers perceive you. And I guess because we teach computers and our society is basically racist and sexist, it seems that the computers are racist and sexist too. Baltimore woman charged after filing false report of armed carjacking robbery. She said that the people had ski masks, the black men had ski masks, and they came up and tried to rob her or whatever. But then the video in the garage show her just sitting in her car. Why is she making up a lot? Finland rolls out bread made from crushed crickets. So it's just not legal in that country for people to eat insects, like, you know, I guess in food service. So they say it's a good source of protein, which I guess I have heard that. And that's what and people who ate it said they couldn't, it tasted just like bread to them. They couldn't tell cricket bread from non-cricket bread. Russell Simmons implies model's accusations against him are out of shame in an open letter. He says that she had come to him and said that someone had found out about them and that she was embarrassed, I think she said. I'm kind of curious about the whole Russell Simmons things. Did I already tell y'all this? Because of his meditation and his being a vegetarian, and you know, it's just kind of like I was curious as to how he would process it and handle it. I'm not saying that he's better than anybody else, but I'm not like really too happy or impressed with how he's handling it. Haitian-born photographers stunning maternity and wedding photos leads to meteoric, like a meteor. He's rising like a meteor in the industry. How do you pronounce that word? Meteoric? Meteoric. It seems like I've heard it before, but it sounds so strange. San Juan submarine explosion dashes crew survival hopes. So that was the Argentinian submarine. So people, and I was like, well, if they detected an explosion, why did it take them so long to know that there was an explosion? But it was like the U.S., different people monitor different water, so it wasn't like the Argentinian government that detected the explosion. It was like 2 different other countries detected it. So I guess it sort of coincided with what went on, and it took them a minute to piece it together. Ruling party assures Mugabe's legacy as a hero of Zimbabwe remains safe. I guess I am concerned about his legacy as a hero, but I'm more concerned about rightness and justice. Like, you can call Martin Luther King a hero all you want, but if you're treating black people like boo-boo and poor people like boo-boo, then his legacy has not really been honored in a real, sincere, honest way. So that's what I'm kind of curious about. Feng Zhigang's youth reinstated. China and U.S. release date set after September delay. It's some film, and I guess that the Chinese government was not happy about it, but it's going to be re-released. The Estilistas and Estecates, Florida's Black and Red Seminole Indians, a proud matriarchal society. Married for a price, India's abandoned holiday wives. So this article was saying like these Middle Easterners will come to India for vacation, and then they'll marry a woman or a young girl for, you know, hey, let's get married, or it's some system they have, and these girls get married, but really it seemed like they just saying they're married so they can have sex with them, and then they go back home, and the girls are, you know, I don't know. So they're called holiday wives. That sounds like a euphemism, like comfort women in Korea was a euphemism for prostitutes. This sounds like another euphemism for selling the baby girls to rich people for money. Yemen war. Aid agencies await Saudi clearance to reach rebel ports. In the image on that story, if I remember correctly, it's like this little baby, like 6 weeks old or whatever, and it's like you can see his ribs. It looks really skinny, and I guess they have to get authorization before they can go in to help the people. But the Saudis have to give the authorization, so they just waiting for the, you know, like the Red Cross is like, we got this help for the people, and the Saudis are like, hold on, let me check everything, and then meanwhile the baby is starving to death. Zimbabwe needs immediate economic reforms, warns IMF. That's the International Monetary Fund. Now when I saw that, I'm like, I've been following this Zimbabwe story, and mainstream media has basically been covering it because that's who basically shows up on my news feed. And I'm like, I should have known it was something about, because now as I'm understanding more, I can see how this is really about the white settlers and this society, this being one of the few African countries where the land was not kept in the hands of white people, and where black and brown people have had the land. And so now they about to change that all over and turn the land over to white people. It's somebody just parked at the back of the block. I don't know what they doing and why. Because what does the IMF, I don't trust the IMF. So if the IMF is concerned and is involved, and I figure I know it's some bull, and then I read a blog the other day that was basically saying that, you know, that Mugabe was one of the few who was like actually fighting for African people, right, wrong, or indifferent. Him as a person, being perfect, not perfect aside, he was fighting to keep African land in the hands of African people. And throughout the continent, we know that that's not the case. Bears caught on camera outside shopping area in California. Indian train travels 160 kilometers in the wrong direction. U.S. school bullying. Mother charged over hidden recording. I guess I forget that this block people come and they just look at houses and stuff. So the mother's child was getting bullied, and the teachers weren't doing anything, so she put a recording device in her child's bag so that she could figure out what was going on and have documentation of what was going on. And so now they want to charge her with contributing to the delinquency of a minor for having her record when that's illegal, and she's recording and that's illegal, and it's like 6 years in jail. And of course the mother is black. She's like unambiguously black. So they ain't do shit to help her when her child, and she's trying to do something to help her child. So now we gonna lock her up and put her in jail and charge her and harass her and bully her because she not gonna roll over. She didn't want to roll over and let her child be bullied. Inside Saudi Arabia's gilded prison, at the Ryder Ritz-Carlton. That's a hotel where they're holding a lot of the wealthy people in Saudi Arabia. The prince done came in and he done took people's property or whatever. He's reclaimed some wealth, redistributing the wealth into his pocket, out of their pocket, and that got them locked up. They in jail, but the jail is a fancy hotel. But they still under lock and key. Where if you ain't got your freedom, it don't really matter where you under lock and key exactly. Does it matter? Because people always said that house Negroes had it better than field Negroes when they were both enslaved. But did they really have it better? I don't know. Maybe in some way and on some level. But I feel like, give me my freedom every day, all day. Give me my freedom. I want my freedom all day, every day. After discovery of corrupt Chicago police planting evidence, an unlikely hero begins the process of mass exonerations. I skimmed the article. I couldn't figure out who the unlikely hero was and why they were unlikely. Myanmar Rohingya crisis, deal to allow return of Muslim refugees. A new national museum and memorial in Alabama will finally look back at racial terror in America. Look back and look, you don't have to look too, but look sideways too, because racial terror in America is going on right here and right now. June 5, 2008, every Major League Baseball team symbolically drafted surviving Negro League members. Rashida Jones clarifies she didn't exit Toy Story 4 over sexual assault, but over lack of diversity, which is another type of assault, right? We have sexual assault, we have racial assault, we have assault of people because they're poor. Malta journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia's family sue police. Dang, I can't remember that story. UN report. Access to energy crucial for escaping poverty. So when you look at Puerto Rico and the power grid being knocked out by the hurricane, and maybe in other places as well, so it's sort of like people go backwards. Like, you know, they were already impoverished in a way in Puerto Rico, many people, and so then you take them back another level. If you got to pay $5 a day, you know, or $10 or $20 or $40 a day, I think that's what I saw, like for energy, for gasoline to run, you know, it's like it's expensive to try to live when you're poor. So they, you know, anyway, so I was just thinking about Puerto Rico and impoverishing some more brown people. Nudist restaurant opens in Paris. The waiter had on clothes. Indian student starts fire after suicide. Museum of African American History is freely digitizing home movies as a way of documenting things. That's kind of interesting. Foxconn stops interns' illegal overtime at iPhone 10 factory. ACLU demands benefits for children impacted by Flint water crisis. Flint, still going on now. Throughout the country, people's water is compromised and other things are compromised. Poisonation. Argentina missing submarine. Russia joins search operation. All right, I think I'm going to shut it down now because I know I'm not going to get through everything. Again, it's Angela with Notes on the News Feed. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Working on 200 subscribers. Please subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Be a subscriber. It's free. I love you. You love me, right? We love each other. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Today is the best day ever to do it. If not today, what day? Today. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Mwah.